गिरिनन्दिनि नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदी नन्दनुते गिरिवरविन्ध्यशिरोधिनिवासी विष्णुविलासी जिष्णुनुते गिरिनन्दिनि नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदी नन्दनुते गिरिवरविन्ध्यशिरोधिनिवासी विष्णुविलासी जिष्णुनुते गिरिनन्दिनि नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदी नन्दनुते गिरिवरविन्ध्यशिरोधि.
It's not so much of an unconventional feel if you look at it. I know, like what you read out as my introduction. That I always keep thinking that like militancy in Assam in terms of policing is probably just 5% of all the work that we do. The rest of the 90% is still crime prevention, right? It's still crime detection and crime prevention, investigation, law and order, traffic management. But you see, like that looks very run of the mill for everyone, and this one is something that they want to like glamorize, and because I'm a woman, they kind of, I think, made it a little more interesting to look at. But frankly, that is only 5% of the work. Of course, it takes 90% of your effort, because that's a tough thing to do. But otherwise, it's, I think, the run of the mill policing is what is most important, because that will give the community and the society the safety and security that is required to live. A girl going to school, she should be able to walk from her house to her school feeling safe enough that she won't be eve teased, that she will, and her parents should be feeling secure enough that yes, she'll come back home in one piece, and without thinking too much. I mean, a girl should be able to get up on a bus without thinking that, oh, I should be wary of that man who's standing there. He looks a little odd. He might want to come and lean on me. You know what I mean, right? In these public buses. So that is what I think is our role. If you want to look at it, as the question which you said about inspiration, I don't look at it as someone or something that inspired me. The only urge that I had as a child was to be financially independent. And for that, this was like one of those things that yes, I have to have my own money. I want to live my life according to myself. And therefore, it was very sure that I had to have a job at some point of time in life. And when I was growing up, everybody was sitting for this exam. My mother was always keen that, oh no, you should sit for this exam, you'll do well, because they were both in the government service, my mom and dad. So then I agreed. I said, sure, let's give it a try. I sat for the exam and I cleared it. So here I am. Wow. So that's how it is. And it's a great job with a good social standing. And I think I'm lucky to have cleared the exam. I looked up to my mom for sure. Uh, because she's a doctor, and this was one thing that always stayed with me. Like, I saw her dedication to her work, and I saw how much effort she put into that. And I always saw her fortitude in living the life, whatever was handed out to her. And I thought that it was a very dignified way of doing things. And I always did really look up to her. It's very strange. Like, most of the role models that I had as a kid were not people that were far away. I mean, of course, we liked our film stars and rock stars and singers and everything else when we were growing up. But more so, it was my school principal, Sister Victoria Nunes. I used to look up to her. There was another teacher in school, Miss Lewis. She was another role model there. And when I came to college, there were all these teachers and professors in Delhi University who made such a huge impression on me. And lastly, of course, my guide who was with me for my MPhil and PhD, Dr. Chintamani Mahapatra from JNU. Okay. And that also made quite an impact, because I could see these people who were professionals and who lived their lives, with when they had to work very professionally. And otherwise, they were personally so warm and so caring, and they were also careful enough to kind of let me know what they had learned along, their lives. So I could make a decision, or I could have something to think about before taking a step forward in my life. I think to a large extent, since my parents were already in the service, they understood the concept of an all India service, and they understood the difference between, like, they understood the importance of being an Indian police service officer to that extent. But of course, I mean, yes, they had their own misgivings in the initial years, and the first few months after joining Assam, I was there in Guwahati when I was doing my ASP-ship under training, and I saw my mom graduate. She learned her lessons along the way. So the first couple of months, mommy used to sit and wait for me to come home, and then we would both eat dinner together. And then after some time, it was like she would eat her dinner, and then she would wait until I came, and then she would kind of serve, like, try and make something fresh and feed. Another month or so later, she would go off to sleep. There would be food in the hot case, So they all learn, and they all agree. And for them, like, I was 26 years old when I joined the service, right? And I'm sure, like, this is how I think about for my child. So I think they also thought that here is a kid, this one's not grown up enough. And then suddenly they realize, oh no, she's an adult, like she can do her own thing. I think that's how it happens, and I think it's something like that for all uh, young people when they start their new careers and jobs. I think it's the same for everyone. Of course, my mother used to be very worried about me going out in the evenings, in the night. She would be tense about it. She still is, but I think over time she realized that I'm not that reckless, that I would be careful about myself. I think that also helped her a bit. I think to the young generation per se, what I would like to say is that don't get afraid of the process. The process is long. Everybody wants the result, but people are so scared of, what all they would need to do to get there. So I think you shouldn't be scared of the process. Some processes are very long. We are not going to be 10 years old or 12 or 15 or 20 years old in a minute. It is going to take us 10, 15, 20 years to get there. So whatever we require is going to take time, and if there is going to be a process, there's going to be a way of doing it. So there's no reason to be scared of that. I think we need to embrace that. We need to accept that yes, this process is going to take this much time or this much effort, and we should then put in that time and effort accordingly. For the women, I think what is most important is that we need to learn and know how to prioritize our requirements. We tend to, like, decide something or the other which is probably not right at that point of time. So we need to have our priorities right as women. We need to know what we need to do. And for women, I always say that there are three things which are non-negotiable. One is that your health. It's your body. You'll have to live with it forever, like till the day you live. That's your body. It's not going to go anywhere else. The other thing is education, because you need to be knowledgeable. A woman needs to know. It's not, you can't just flounder, or you can't just think that someone else will help you out. You need to know for yourself, and education is a must. And the third is financial independence, because without this, it doesn't matter what you wish, you won't be able to do what you want to. So yeah, it's not so difficult, right? So a strong woman is someone who's kind, who's affectionate, educated, confident, knowledgeable, and independent. I think, it's not just women, even men have to be kind and affectionate. Because without kindness and affection, you will never be able to do something for another human being. And being in the government per se, we are here as service to other people. Like, there's nothing, we're not doing this for ourselves, we're not doing this for the government, we're doing it for the people of the country. So you have to be kind and affectionate, you have to have that heart to be able to do things for everyone. And this is not just for women, it's for men as well. And without that, you will never be a good officer, you will never be a good administrator, you will never be part of good governance. Um, I think, like, whenever I go for any of these meetings, interviews, or even panel discussions, people want to know about how did you study and how do you work and how do you maintain like your balance at home. But I think nobody asks is like, like how do you remain normal? What is normal for you? This is one of those questions I think nobody asks. Um, you see, like, and let me answer this for you as well. Like in this job, in this profession, a lot of us end up thinking with very swollen heads. We think really highly of ourselves, and because we are in a position where we can make a difference in someone's life or death. And I think that is where the fact that we have something else to look forward to, someone to answer to, I think that helps. For me to be normal is that, no matter what action I take, whatever step I take in my professional life, I should be able to come back and explain it to my son when he grows up or when he wants to ask me a question. And unless that happens, I don't think we can like maintain that normalcy and that sanity. And I think this is something that we kind of forget. We want to like think of the entire being in power as a whole game of only power. Whereas with power, if you don't have the attendant responsiveness, then it doesn't make much of a difference.
विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दनुते गिरिवरविन्द